Hey, come here. You like pro wrestling? We got a little something for you. 2 fans, 3,000 miles away. We each been watching for more than 30 years. Celebrate the art form, the action, the homoeroticism. We ain't rating matches. We ain't analyzing stories. We ain't experts. We just sit down, shut up, and mark out! All right, what's up, everybody? It is Blade Daily. We are back with another edition of Sit Down, Shut Up, Mark Out, a pro wrestling podcast about pro wrestling. And I'm joined by my homie, my ace, my co-host, the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be, the greatest Canadian pro wrestling podcaster in the history of pro wrestling podcasts, Joshi G. Joshi G, what up?
Hello. Not much. Feeling up and down this week,
Just like the fate of freedom and humanity, that's all.
Yeah. Obviously, the election didn't go the way I wanted to. And it's not like it was a surprise to me, but you kind of still have that hope that people will make the right decision. And I don't feel that happened.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, like, I decided, fuck it. I'm going to believe with my whole heart that we are just going to do the right thing as a country. And we are not going to reelect a tyrant and a felon and the litany of bad that you can put before this guy's name just goes on and on and on. So, we're a pro wrestling podcast, and generally a lot of people would tell you not to mix politics with whatever your quote unquote business stuff or whatever. And I say, fuck that. We are human beings first. We are pro wrestling podcasters second. There's a lot of people who are scared right now. There are a lot of people who are despairing right now. And to all of them that might be listening to us today, I just want to say, I'm with you. We hear you. I'm not doing the best, I know, Joshi, you've been really up and down as well. We have some really good friends that are really scared, and that makes total sense. None of us has a unique perspective. I can't tell you anything that is going to make you feel better. Okay. Other than we just don't know how a lot of this is going to shake out right now. And that's maybe the scariest part, right? So if you are feeling, scared to the point of like you're scared for your own well-being, please reach out to a crisis line. Please, do something to help yourself, because every one of us is important. Every one of us matters. You guys matter to all of us. And we want you to be well. And kind of moving into, what actually happened this week, I just want to say I'm super disappointed to be I'm super disappointed in America this week. I wanted to believe that we're a little bigger and a little better than this. I wanted to believe that we would reject hatred. And unfortunately, this isn't about being a Republican or a Democrat or any of that. This person that we have made our president again has vociferously amplified hatred. And it's done to kind of beat us into submission. And I'm just telling you, as somebody who has zero energy right now to fight, that I will not stop resisting or fighting. But I am going to catch my breath. And I'm very glad to be here with my tag team partner, Joshi G, this week. Joshi, where are you at?
Well, I have a few comments. I think that although this is very disappointing and it's extremely scary, especially for the LGBTQ plus community, women, especially women that are, minorities, immigrants, all of that. It's very scary. And it's hard to be optimistic at the moment, but you can't ever give up and you can't ever stop fighting. Don't think like you've lost your voice now. You're never going to lose your voice. So you just have to keep putting out how you feel, putting how you feel out there, and finding a support system that hears you and that will help you, and just keep hoping that in the future, hopefully, we'll get there. We'll get to a world where people are more tolerant and understanding and accepting of each other. That's what we can do, right? We can't just stop fighting and go in a corner and give up on life. That's not ever a solution. You have to just keep going. And just a couple of other comments. Just because you're anti something doesn't mean that you need to do that thing that others are for. Like, I'll just throw it out there. Like, let's say abortion. If you're anti-abortion, okay, just don't get an abortion. That's your life. It's understandable. But don't tell other people how to use their bodies. I have a problem with that. And, this applies to men and women. We need to accept that we all have our own way of thinking and our own bodies, and that if we feel that for whatever reason we need to do something, that's our choice, and nobody should be able to control that. And I just think that it's really important to understand that just because you view something a certain way doesn't mean that you should punish everybody else. That's not fair.
Sit Down, Shut Up, Mark Out is a place for everyone. We want you to feel like, you're listening to people who care about you, who put humanity above everything else, and we truly do. If you are opposed to a certain kind of person just existing, fuck off. We don't want you. We don't want you to listen to this show. We have no interest in anything you have to say. Get the fuck out of here. There's a lot of other places that your fucking shit can go be tolerated at, but it's not here. To those of you who are scared and those of you who are feeling this perpetual sense of kind of like this Hades, where we're kind of just sitting in anticipation. I feel you. I understand. We are not done. And there is more to do, a lot more to do. And we will redouble our efforts after we catch our breath here. So with all of that said, Joshi, you ready to talk some professional wrestling?
Yeah, let's move on.
Let's do it. Let's do it. All right. Well, a couple quick bits of news that were interesting that kind of got washed out with the rest of the shit that happened this week. Kenneth Jerome Bonaparte Omega made his return to New Japan Pro Wrestling. He spoke a lot of Japanese that I did not understand. But he showed up and basically said he wants to return in a New Japan ring, that he's hoping that he can return at the
Wrestle Dynasty?
Big event, Wrestle Dynasty, on January 5th. Pretty exciting, if you ask me. Pretty exciting. However, he seemed pretty goddamn happy in that ring, didn't he?
Yes. I blame Daly. After I watched his promo in the ring, I looked at my husband and I said, Kenny Omega's always going to be a New Japan guy. And that's okay. I completely get it. It's just, I feel when he goes to New Japan, the fans have a deep level of respect.
Mhm.
It's not, and I'm not saying that in the United States, the fans are mean to him or that they all hate him. I'm not saying that, but I feel he's not as revered as he is in Japan. I don't know why that is. It might be because of some stupid podcasters, but when you see him in New Japan, the fans, they still keep chanting Kenny and very loudly. Kenny. They've accepted him as one of his own, and I just think he feels that, and he feels more welcome there. And I don't think it's because, as I said, American fans are rude to him. I just feel because in the States there's AEW and there's WWE. Some fans like to they like to underestimate how good he is.
Well, I would say that was truer years ago. I think that it's been interesting the last few years is like it feels like his legend in North America has grown quite a bit. But I will say, I'm just going to call it like it is. Kenny's giving AEW that real side hoe vibe. You know what I mean? Where he's just like, we're his lady on the side.
Yeah.
His heart will always belong to New Japan. And you know what? Good for him. That's where he accomplished so much. You see that his connection with that fan base is so genuine and so deep. He looked very, very happy to be there. He did happen to get in some kind of backstage skirmish with Gabe fucking Kidd. So that might be what they're building towards. A lot of people hate Gabe Kidd, including you. And apparently a lot of other ladies, particularly, I've noticed this. A lot of our female friends do not like Gabe Kidd because I think he comes across like a toxic asshole. And
he does. He really does. On that note, iBlade, I'm guessing that we won't see Kenny in AEW until next year. Then.
That seems to be the case.
Yeah.
That seems to be the case. And you know what? That's okay. I think he's going to end up playing some kind of significant role in whatever's going on with Moxley and all of that stuff. I think he's like Captain AEW almost. And I think it's kind of taken Tony Khan a long time to realize that. He wanted CM Punk to be Captain AEW. And that blew up so spectacularly. You know, Tony's biggest mistake as the owner of AEW was turning his back on the elite and doubling, tripling, quadrupling down on CM Punk, who didn't give a shit and didn't care, you know, and didn't have the love. I think that's been maybe the biggest disruptive thing that's ever happened in the history of AEW. And they're still recovering from it. So I think Kenny will probably have something to do with the rebellion against the Death Riders, as they are now officially known. But with that said, there was also just one little piece of news that I saw. I believe it came from the Observer, but I could be wrong. It happened just before the election. I saw it posted somewhere that Chris Jericho is the ROH champion right now because they are working on a TV deal. That makes sense to me. And if they can do it, great. But, at this point, how many people is Chris Jericho really going to bring to the show?
I'm not sure. That's the issue.
However, if it truly is the case that they are working on a TV deal and they think they're going to get one, or they maybe have some kind of general agreement and they wanted Chris Jericho as a champion, do it. It'd be crazy not to. So we'll see. But, this has been a rumor we've heard many, many times now. So we'll just see. So, Joshi, you ready to jump into the happenings over the past, weekish?
Heck yeah.
Let's fucking do it. Okay, we are kicking this show off, and we are talking about Collision. And you know why that is, Joshi? We don't normally cover Collision because of our schedule. Usually by the time our episodes go live, Collision's like a week old. And truthfully, Collision often feels like it happens in a completely different universe, right?
Yes.
Like FTR is almost never on Dynamite. The House of Black, very rarely on Dynamite. They're always on Collision, which is great, right? I like that they have those kind of tentpole talents. But, Collision seems like it's becoming more of the work rate show where, a lot of, like, it happens outside of the Dynamite continuum, one way or the other. This week felt very different. And it felt like a follow-up to what had happened on Dynamite. And that couldn't be exemplified any better than the way it started, which was this massive celebration for Private Party as the new tag team champions. All these tag teams were at, by the Tron. There were tag teams in the ring. It felt like a special coronation. It felt like a really big deal. What do you think, Joshi?
I really loved it. I liked that the heel tag teams weren't actually in the ring. They're just staring at Private Party and the babyface tag teams all annoyed. So that was awesome. I really liked that they, instead of waiting for Dynamite for the celebration, they decided, you know what? Let's do it on Collision. I do like the continuation. That's something we don't often see on Collision. Also, oh my gosh. There was something that the Outrunner said that was so ridiculous. And now I can't...
If you're anything like me, and I know I am.
Yeah, if you're anything like me, and I know I am. Which made me laugh so hard. They're so freaking funny.
They're so great.
Oh, yeah. So I just thought it was a really great way to open the show. Private Party is they're very deserving of the tag belts. Very happy for them. And it was really nice to see all the tag teams united and, well, except for the heels, but just seeing them all out there and knowing that the tag team division is in a better place right now made me happy.
Much better place.
Yeah.
Much better place. And it's showing, I think, how important these tag titles are. And I think that's really important is, hey, there's a lot of people that want these belts. They're all out here. Isaiah was kind of a dick and shoved the belt in Dax's face.
Right.
The Outrunners broke it up. Very, very interesting. But this, to me, made the tag titles feel like really important. After this, there was a promo in the back with the Acclaimed talking to, I believe it was Renee.
Yeah. Oh, wait. Lexi Nair? Was it Lexi Nair or Renee?
Was it Lexi? Okay.
Well, anyway,
okay. Might have been
one
Lexi.
of the blondes.
one of the incredible backstage interviewers. Yes. Max Caster was definitely acting very heelish in this promo.
Oh, yeah.
And he pulled out the Hurt Syndicate card. And Bowens immediately has this viscerally negative reaction to that. Like, you still have that? Like, what the hell? Bowens looks very annoyed with Max. Max comes across like an absolute dick.
Yeah.
And I think they're starting to set it up. I think it's going to happen soon. I think Bowens is going to have that singles run that people online want him to have so bad. But you know what? Max Caster cut a great promo. It was a really strong promo. The guy seems so much more comfortable than he did even 6 months ago. I think that they have had this whole thing on pause. I think they started teasing it a while ago. When Max started calling himself the greatest wrestler alive, I think is when the original thing started. But if he turns and joins the Hurt Syndicate, that would be dope.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think that would be great. Him and Bowens could have a great feud. Bowens could still be managed by Daddy Ass if he really wanted to. But, man, I this was promising. What do you think?
I liked it. We've been speculating that Max would turn on Bowens since July. It's been a while. Yeah. And it seemed like they decided that wasn't going to happen anymore for a little while. But now it's back on track. I think it's the best thing to do. They've been together for a really long time. Their whole gimmick is getting a little bit old. You want to keep things fresh and new. Mm-hmm. So I'm all for breaking them up. I really want to see Bowens on his own. If Billy Gunn isn't a factor anymore, I'm okay with that as well.
Me too.
He's been used well for what, like over 2 years now, even more than that.
Mhm.
So I would be okay with them completely moving away from that. But yeah, I think it's for the best. I just think it's apparent that the Acclaimed was getting stale.
Yeah, and I want to see Bowens outside of the confines of the Acclaimed catchphrase guy, where, like, can he cut a real promo? I don't
Right.
know.
I don't know
He doesn't
either.
usually. He does these kind of shouty, catchphrasey promos, but I would love to see, can this guy cut a real promo about whatever's happening? I would love to see him and Caster. I think they'd be great rivals. They're very polar opposites. And then I would actually prefer to see Anthony Bowens on his own without Billy Gunn. But I could see it going either way.
Yeah.
And I'm interested. But it was nice to finally see what we kind of thought was happening back in July, like you said, when they started building up to that FTR and Acclaimed and Bucks match at All In. It's nice to see something coming from that.
Yes. 2 months later, but hey, still works.
Yeah, it took a while, but we're getting there.
Yeah.
We had a Day of the Dead match, the first in AEW history. It was really just kind of a no DQ match. Thunder Rosa versus Harley Cameron. Joshi, this was a really fucking fun match.
Oh my God. I loved it. I loved Rosa's gear, her makeup, everything. She looks so
the entrance.
Yes, she looks so perfect.
Mhm.
She's such a badass. Thunder Rosa, she has a very special place in my heart. There's just something about her. And Harley,
same for me.
Yeah, and Harley Cameron with her kitty face paint was just so ridiculous.
Harley Cameron is so good and so entertaining. She's unlike any of the other women. She's a fucking goofball. And she knows it. And she knows that that's what she brings to the table. But man, her in-ring is getting better and better.
Yeah.
I don't think she's ever going to be a top tier worker, but she can hold her own in these matches.
Yeah.
I think she's wrestled like 50 matches in her whole life. I mean, that's how good she's gotten really, really fast. They have a really solid match that ends, it's a Day of the Dead match. Thunder Rosa's not losing this to Harley Cameron. But it ends where Rosa does that ramp drop kick.
Yeah.
She runs up and jumps off this broken table, drop kicks a trash can that's around Harley's head, and pins her. Super fun match. Super, super, super fun match. If you didn't see it yet, go see it. It's a great match. This was a great Collision.
It was.
The last 2 weeks of Collision particularly have been fantastic.
Yeah, I agree.
Any other thoughts on that?
I'm curious to see what Thunder Rosa does next. I wonder if she's going to maybe feud with Saraya, or I don't know. I wouldn't mind Thunder Rosa, Serena Deeb again. Thought they had a really great match.
Yeah.
Or just thinking who's on Collision most of the time, or I don't know, like even Thunder Rosa challenging Mariah May at some point, or Mercedes Moné. I would love to see.
I almost kind of wonder if this was a way to set up Mariah versus Thunder Rosa for Full Gear.
Maybe.
Because Mariah will definitely be on that show.
Yeah.
And so she doesn't have an opponent right now. She doesn't really have any clear path to Full Gear right now. There is some shit that happened on Dynamite that makes it very clear that somebody is coming back and somebody else might be coming with her. So we'll talk more about that later in the show. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens with Thunder Rosa. We had a promo from Jon Moxley, who was with Wheeler and Marina. He kind of talked about he kind of lifted the veil on kayfabe. Apparently, Orange Cassidy is not from wherever. He's from Philadelphia. They were in Philadelphia for this show. And, Mox talks about Wheeler Yuta's also from Philadelphia. And, talks about what a great person Wheeler Yuta's becoming, that he's a soldier, that he's Mox's soldier. He Also makes an interesting point that kind of Orange Cassidy acts like Wheeler owes him something for just being his friend and mentor, and that he doesn't owe him anything. And, Mox, some people say he's like kind of not a heel. And I think he's just a very layered heel, but he's definitely a heel.
Oh, yeah, he's a heel.
Yeah.
100%.
He contradicts himself a lot.
Yeah.
And he kind of like reveals that he's full of shit a lot. And
exactly.
that, all these egos, blah, 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 blah. And then he talks about how Wheeler's his soldier. And he's obviously got a big ego of his own, Anyway, very interesting little segment. And it's interrupted by Action Andretti, who everybody was expecting to whoop the Death Riders all by himself. Action Andretti, And he comes out and he says, like, look, you talk about Wheeler being a hometown hero. Well, Philadelphia is my hometown. And the crowd rewards him for that by booing him.
Yeah.
In his hometown. And maybe the most Philadelphia moment of Philadelphia. They boo the hometown boy who comes out to challenge Pac, who defeats him and makes him tap in his hometown. And the crowd cheers when he taps. Joshi, any thoughts on that so far?
Action Andretti has to turn heel.
I think it's getting to that point. I honestly think he might end up joining these guys.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
Riders.
Yeah, I could see that happening. Actually, it's just that he's been teasing a heel turn for a while and got home, booed in his hometown. So it's coming at some point. And I do think that now that Top Flight has Leo Rush back, he's taken Action Andretti's spot. So it all makes sense. And I really like that BCC and Orange were on Collision and continued the story from Dynamite. So that was all great stuff.
It made Collision feel a lot more consequential to have Moxley and Orange on it. So Orange comes out after the match. He says, he tells Wheeler, he comes out through the crowd. He tells, he says he loves Philadelphia. He tells Wheeler that Mox is using him. And then Mox, kind of gets pissed, slaps Wheeler to get him to attack Orange Cassidy. And Wheeler kind of doesn't look like he wants to do it. He's got a chair. Moxley's like, you better fucking do it. So Wheeler runs after him. He comes right up to him and Orange is like, do it. Hit me with the chair. And Wheeler doesn't do it.
Couldn't do it.
And Orange gets away. And that's kind of how it's left. But it was an interesting thing. I thought when Orange, years ago now, when Wheeler Yuta left Best Friends to join the Blackpool Combat Club, he was a little bit dickish to them a few times, but I never thought they were going to come back around to this.
No.
And it's been really interesting to watch them do that.
Yeah, it's like they're trying to teach him something, but also deliberately wanting to hurt him. It's a really twisted thing.
Also showing just character development for Wheeler Yuta. He's been the whipping boy of the Death Riders for a long time, and he still is, but he's starting to grow as a character. And, he's got to face down this thing with Orange Cassidy. He's been this dismissive asshole towards Best Friend since he left.
Right.
But now you're seeing he's a little more conflicted than we might have thought. The last thing that I thought was really, there's two more things. One I didn't write down. Kyle Fletcher and Commander.
Oh, my God. Yes.
Holy shit. These two motherfuckers had one of the best TV matches of the year, in my opinion. One of the best Collision matches ever. What a fucking match these two had. Joshi, how'd you feel watching this?
It was an amazing match. To be perfectly honest with everybody, I wasn't the biggest fan of Commander at the beginning, okay? It's not that I didn't like his wrestling ability or anything like that. He just, I don't know, I wasn't drawn to him. I was like, this guy's okay. But he has progressed a lot the past couple of years, so I have to give it to him. He had a really fantastic match with Beast Martos, now with Action Andretti. He also had a really great match with Oh my gosh, why am I blanking on his name? A new luchador.
Hologram.
Yes, Hologram. So he also had a really great match with Hologram. He has progressed tremendously, and as for Fletcher, he just keeps getting better and better and better. It's really ridiculous how great he is.
Wasn't that crazy when Commander poison Ronald Fletcher over the top rope? Fletcher lands on his feet and Commander's still on him.
Yeah.
And then he poison Ranas him on the outside. Wild.
That was insane.
Absolutely wild. Fletcher gave Commander so much. Kyle Fletcher's going to be the best wrestler in the world at some point.
Oh, I see it. I see it for sure.
This was an incredible match. Just so good. Just to what you were saying about Commander, this guy shows up 2 years ago, basically, in AEW. He is a flippy guy who does the tightrope on, walk. And he kind of overuses it. He's kind of like a one-trick pony, right? Meltzer talks about him, says, this guy is so young, and he's pretty much only wrestled trios matches before he was in AEW. So he's just getting his feet wet, but everybody thinks very highly of him. Flash forward 2 years. This is another talent, and I think we should start really noting this. In AEW, this is another talent that we are talking about how far they've come so fast.
Mm-hmm.
Add that to, Anna Jay, add that to Harley Cameron, add that to Commander, and you got to start wondering, how does that stack up with the talent place at WWE, the Performance Center?
Yeah.
AEW's helping people improve real fast.
Yeah.
And it's starting to become pretty consistent. So really, really excellent match. Kyle Fletcher wins, as you might imagine, but man, that was a hell of a match.
Hell yeah. Loved it.
Probably my match of the week, honestly. It was a great match. Well, that's rough, actually, because Private Party versus the Bucks.
Yeah, that's a tough one, but it was definitely one of the best. Hands down. Best match on Collision. That's for sure.
Yeah, by far.
Yeah.
Yes. Right, and they gave him 20 minutes. I mean, they really went at it.
They got a lot of time.
The last really notable thing from Collision, Mariah May and Anna Jay had another match. Fantastic match. I thought it could have been a little longer. They could have given them 5 more minutes. Would have made it even better. But, man, Anna Jay has really accelerated her development. Joshi?
She is so special to me. Anna Jay was signed during the pandemic. She was on Dark. She had only been wrestling for a year. To see her 4 years later, and she's basically gotten so good. I do think that her time in Stardom helped her. And man, she was there for a month? It wasn't like she was there for a year. It definitely helped a great deal. But I also think that whoever's training her in AEW, whether it's Dustin or QT or I can't say, right? But whoever is working with her is really helping her reach that next level of stardom and success. It's so cool to see. Because I remember, I think when she had her some matches against Jade Cargill, people were commenting about how they're both green and they both need a lot of work. And I would always say, listen, both these women haven't been wrestling for that long, right? So let's be patient. They're going to get better. So now fast forward, let's say 3 years. Anna Jay has definitely reached another level. She improved immensely. The other one, well, not so much. What can you do? It happens. It's just nice to see that Anna was able to go from being green and, needing work, but I never thought she was terrible, to being someone that is so consistently good in the ring, regardless of who her opponent is. I can't really think of a bad Anna Jay match. And
right.
And although I did think, although their first match, in my opinion, was better because it got more time, this was still a good match. I completely agree with you, Blade. They could have gotten 5 minutes more. I will talk about this a little bit more later, but the women's matches sometimes feel like they get cut too short. I don't know why. It's like they're reaching that next level that's going to make the match fantastic, and for some reason they decide, nope, that's it. We're stopping this match. I don't understand the logic because these ladies are not newbies and they're not green, you know? So it's like, I don't get it.
It felt like this match got time cut from it.
Yeah.
To me.
I don't know why. It's something that I hope changes because there's no reason for it. It's not like we're watching two women that just started. Mariah May obviously is one of the best wrestlers in AEW and in the world, and Anna Jay is really good. So you gotta trust the female wrestlers, man.
Yeah. Oh. And we'll have more about that in just a little bit here. But that was basically Collision by and large. Very much a worthwhile show to go seek out. If you haven't already, go give it a watch. It was a great show. But now we haven't even started talking about Dynamite.
Dynamite.
Let's do it. Well, this past Wednesday, we had AEW Dynamite, as we often do. Almost every Wednesday, as a matter of fact. Just about every Wednesday. And we kicked the show off with the Hurt Syndicate walking to the ring. Tony Schiavone introduced them. And essentially, the aura from these guys is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Just unbelievable. Shelton and Bobby together, dressed up like that, they look so scary. They look so imposing. Lashley just puts out megastar vibes in this presentation of him. Do not let this man cut a promo. Okay. He's awful at it. But man, MVP as the mouthpiece, super, super, super good. MVP basically it's a very simple promo. MVP just says, look, we're here. We've given some business cards out. If you reject our business cards, we showed you last week what happens with what we did to Swerve. And then a guy in the crowd goes, whose house? And then literally the next second, you hear the music, whose house? And Swerve comes out looking cool as hell, as he always does, and just says, Lashley, full gear. And he's got a chain in his hand, so you know some shit's about to go down, okay? Very interesting promo. It did everything it needed to do without overstaying its welcome. Fantastic. What do you think, Joshi?
I love Hurt Syndicate. They are so freaking cool. I wish I was that cool. I mean, all three of them. And it's funny because when you think of MVP, you know, because I haven't watched WWE in years, for some reason, it didn't occur to me that he was such a big freaking guy, right?
He's huge.
He's actually really huge, but for some reason, like when from my recollection, he seemed not like a small guy, but definitely not almost as freaking tall as Bobby Lashley. And when they all three came out together in those suits, looking sharp, Bobby had sunglasses. I can't recall if Shelton had sunglasses. I think
Shelton did have sunglasses. Yeah.
So you look at these guys, and they're all three freaking terrifying. Like, yes, they're extremely cool, and I wish I was cool like that. But they're also scary. I would not mess with these guys. They gave me this. You know what? They gave me this kind of Pulp Fiction vibe in the suits, and it was just really, really well done. Oh man.
Well, and Lashley, I think the less he says and the more emotionless he is, and Shelton too.
Yeah.
The more terrifying they are. Like,
I agree.
They barely do shit. You know, Bobby will just push his glasses up or whatever every once in a while. But man, they just stand there you know, and MVP does all the talking. I saw him at a Defy show years ago.
Oh, nice.
And next to like a local indie talent, he's gigantic.
Oh, man.
So like
yeah.
he's a big dude. He's a big dude with a great working punch, by the way. If you see his punches like up close, you do not see any daylight. It's crazy.
Oh yeah.
He can throw one hell of a working punch. We moved real quickly from that into our first match of the night, which was OC, Orange Cassidy and Darby with Claudio and Pac. I wanted to talk about this one because Darby entered by jumping off the babyface tunnel onto Claudio and Pac. I also wanted to mention that Claudio's entrance music now is so badass and so good. And they are doing this kind of longer entrance for the Death Riders, who now have a Tron video that says Death Riders on it. That is the group name now. I love it.
Me too.
It was just badass. They had, you know, Pac, Claudio, Orange Cassidy, and Darby are not going to have a bad match. And they had a fun match. It ended due to a no contest. Wheeler Yuta ran in, started laying some beatdowns. Moxley and Marina were quick to follow. I do got to say, this is like kind of like the third, maybe even fourth no contest on Dynamite in the last like month.
Yeah.
And I don't want to keep seeing this happen. I really don't want to keep seeing just interference finishes, no contests. We hated it when Vince McMahon overused it. I don't want to see AEW do that. I didn't mind it, but I'm starting to notice it more and more, you know? What do you think, Josh?
Well, I blade. See, and I have more to say this about a match that's coming up next week when we get to Takeshita. But the thing is that, and I think maybe this is a learning lesson for Tony Khan. Okay, so if you're going to book OC and Darby versus Claudio and Pac, I understand the disqualification. None of these guys should look weak right now, right?
Right.
So you have to put someone else in that spot, whether it's Darby's or OC's, if you want a clean finish, right? So what I think is, when you're gonna have these matches where all four opponents are in a rivalry right now, where it hasn't really been established who's going to come out on top, of course you have to end it in disqualification. I don't think there should be a clean winner, but at the same time, don't overdo it.
Right.
That's where I'm at with it. I completely get it, because I would have been really annoyed if Darby or OC would have gotten pinned, or Pac or Claudio. Like, to me, I would have been like, oh, no, that sucks, right?
I kind of felt like Pac was the one who would take the pin in this, and I don't think he should be taking a pin either.
He shouldn't be taking a pin, right? So I get it. I get it in these kind of cases. So I think the only thing you can do really is have these type of matches every once in a while, you know? But as you said, it shouldn't be a consistent thing that happens, because then it's overdone, and we don't want to see the House of Torture stuff in AEW, right? So I feel the same way as you do.
We go backstage. And so the Death Riders run into the ring. They start beating everybody up. The conglomeration comes down to make the save, to mixed results. Claudio did press slam Darby Allin into the ring post, which was, what a fucking crazy ass bump that was.
Oh man.
It looked god off. And it's Darby, he's going to figure it out, but fucking A, Jesus.
That nut job.
We then go back to Ricochet cutting a promo in the back in a very nice suit himself. And I gotta say, Ricochet week by week by week, to me, is looking like a bigger and bigger star.
Mm-hmm.
He's being presented as a star. And as a character and as a promo, he continues to get better. And I'm not saying he's the greatest, but he's not terrible. And he's getting better and better. And then he is surrounded very quickly by the Hurt Syndicate. And they don't say shit And he goes, Bobby, looking good. Shelton, hi, kind of like, what the fuck are you guys doing here? And MVP finally goes, oh no, we just wanted to hear what you had to say, and
yeah, we just want to wish you good luck.
Yeah, we wanted to wish you good luck. And then Bobby reaches out and like straightens Ricochet's tie.
I love that.
He's like, that's a nice tie. I think he said, I think that's what he said.
I really like that. I just love that Bobby Lashley was all about, hey, you need to look more presentable. He's all about style.
But like, they like just really, this promo was so good because of what they didn't do. They didn't say shit. But all of those guys make Ricochet look like a child.
Yeah.
And they were surrounding him. And I loved it. I thought it was honestly one of my highlights of the show. I just love the energy of this. These guys don't have to say anything. Just look at them.
Yes.
I think they're going to bring eyes to AEW. I really do.
Well, see, instead of the learning tree showing up so much backstage.
Agreed.
Let the freaking Hurt Syndicate be the ones that
you got the
keep,
fucking Hurt Syndicate,
yeah,
man.
That you keep showing backstage. And even if they don't talk, man, I don't care. They don't have to.
Yeah.
I just like looking at them. Ricochet really fits in AEW. Like, he's just, I don't know what it is. It's like the glove fits the hand perfectly. He belongs there. Holy crap.
He belongs in AEW. He's right where he belongs.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Just the way like Adam Cole fits in, just the way that Danielson fit in, Ricochet fits like that, where it's like, that's where he belongs. Really, like even Mercedes, I would say the same thing.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Man, she just fits in there. There was a trios fight without honor that I thought was fun. I thought it was a fun match.
It was.
Big Bill and Kyle O'Reilly took a big ass bump. I liked the bump a lot. It's way on the outside. There's tables set up. They're standing. Are they standing on a table? What were they standing on? I don't remember. Bill goes to choke slam O'Reilly through these tables, and O'Reilly turns it into a choke, like a guillotine choke, and Big Bill passes out, and they both fall through the tables. That was crazy. Mark Briscoe took some insane fucking bumps. I don't know how this guy does it. Week in and week out. He wrestles every week, and he does something like he went through a ladder in this match. Like it was just cost of doing business. It was nothing. And the match ends with our friend Big Tom Tomohiro Ishii pinning Chris Jericho and then holding up the ROH title afterwards. They're clearly building to that. I think that will probably headline. Is it Death Before Dishonor is the last show of the
December.
year? I think you're looking at what might be the headlining match for Death Before Dishonor. I don't see them having that match on. I can see it happening on Dynamite, but I don't think it would happen on the streaming service. I just don't see it.
Me neither, but man, I was so shocked and happy that Ishii pinned Jericho. That was great.
Yeah.
That put a huge smile on my face. Again, I don't hate Jericho or anything, but Ishii has been on excursion pretty much since June, and it was really nice to see him get a huge victory like that. So props to Ishii.
Ishii in AEW, like I love him there.
Me too.
Like he even speaks a little bit of Japanese, like during the promos sometimes now and stuff. Like Ishii never fucking talks in New Japan. Like it's been wild to see, but ever since Hot Dog Summer, like I love Ishii in AEW. That excursion has been one of my favorite ever. So we have a match with Malachi Black versus Adam Cole. This is part of the little gauntlet of matches that Adam Cole needs to have. He needs to win 3 times. His first opponent was Buddy Matthews. This week it was Malachi Black. I would say the match was good. I don't think it was like the greatest thing I've ever seen, but it was solid. How'd you feel about the quality of the match, Joshi?
I liked it. It was a good match. I
enjoyed it.
Yeah, I really liked the way Malachi Black wrestles, and I thought Adam Cole looked good. So I was all for it. I thought the aftermath of the match was a little bit confusing because basically Adam Cole goes to shake. He puts his hand out so that Malachi Black will shake it. Malachi Black decides to hug Adam Cole instead. Then Malachi Black leaves the ring. Adam Cole takes the mic and says that he thanks Malachi Black for one of the best matches of his career and whatnot. And you see the fans, you see and hear them chanting, thank you, Malachi, or just Malachi, I can't recall now. So that was a little bit confusing. I didn't tell myself, oh my God, for sure he's leaving AEW or anything like that. But I was wondering, okay, maybe his contract's coming up. And of course, we were all wrong. Malachi Black has addressed that.
It kicked off a flurry of speculation with everyone, apparently. There were people saying he was going to retire. There were people saying he's leaving AEW. It was just like it got out of hand super fast. And Fightful put out a report that said, there's some confusion about when his contract ends, blah, 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 which kind of fueled the fire, I think. And then Malachi is like, look, I'm not retiring. I'm not leaving, So he put it to bed himself. I thought that was interesting.
We just need to accept that Malachi Black is in a very good place right now. And that he was just really happy that he had that kind of match with Adam Cole. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see him hug other opponents now that he's not clearly a heel anymore. I just think that because of what happened back in 2022, I believe it was, there's this idea that he doesn't want to stay there and that he's unhappy. I mean, the guy was dealing with a very serious back injury. He was extremely depressed. He's very vocal about his mental health. So I think we just need to back off and accept that maybe he's just really happy right now and he's showing it. He even said in the video that he posted that he's really happy. So we should just leave him alone type of thing,
Yeah, well, he obviously had inquired about getting his release in 2022. Fucking knows. Like, I don't work at AEW. I have no fucking idea. You just kind of want all of these guys to find where they belong and be happy there. House of Black is incredibly popular. I bet they make a good amount of money on merch and stuff like that. Or their contracts are probably, the guaranteed money they get is big because they sell so much merch. Malachi is a merch mover. So, he's beloved by the AEW fan base. I would love it if he stayed. If he didn't, that'd be okay too. Whatever he wants to do. Good for him. After the match, MJF calls from his spooky mansion to someone that he appears to know well, and he says he needs them to pay someone else a visit. Who could it be? Well, we find out later that it's Don Callis. The messenger shows up and plays a message from MJF telling Callis that he's got money and that he'll pay him a lot of money to get rid of Adam Cole. He also gives him the Dynamite Diamond ring, and that will apparently play into the match with Adam Cole next week against Konosuke Takeshita. What do you think of this?
I don't like it at all. I think this is a very stupid decision. He's the international champion.
Yeah.
Clearly he's going to lose. I freaking hate this decision.
And I think he's going to get KO'd with the ring or something. And I don't like it. I don't care.
I don't like it. You could have put somebody else in that position that's not champion and tough. You could have freaking put Lance Archer. You could have put Brian Cage. Why the hell are you putting Takeshita, the international champion, who has not been defeated recently? And he shouldn't be. He shouldn't be defeated until he loses that freaking belt. And now he's probably going to get pinned. Well, mind you, we'll talk about this later. Okay, there was in the main event, he did get pinned. But that's different. That's establishing his match with Ricochet. This is so freaking stupid. I really, really hate it.
I agree with you. I feel pretty strongly that it's not a good thing.
Yeah, like you have so many wrestlers on your roster, you decide to go with the one that is champion right now and that's getting a push finally. I fucking hate it. Sorry, but yeah.
Well, and I mean, the guy that you just started giving basically a nuclear push to,
Yeah,
like,
so
why
dumb.
would you do this? Why would you do this? And Adam Cole, I love Adam Cole. He just hasn't been presented as a guy who can handle Takeshita right now.
Exactly.
So I don't know.
Dumb.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm not a fan of it at all. But we'll have to see next week, I guess.
Yeah.
Switchblade and Hangman. Switchblade was starting to cut a promo and immediately was attacked by Hangman. They got in a big brawl. It was fun. Hanger, he wanted to break Switch's ankle. He got it stuck in the railing, and then Juice came out, and I can't even remember what Hanger had in his hand, but Juice came out and took it out of his hand.
Yeah.
What's that?
He took it out of his hand. Yeah. I just can't remember what it was. No.
And they got in, a bit of a brawl. They ran Hangman off. Switchblade cut a brief promo. I thought this was a fun segment. I feel like there's something just a little bit missing from this feud that could take it to the next level and make it feel more personal. Right now, it's just about the win-loss record of their career-long rivalry. I think they need to make it about something else, something a little more, add a little more meat to this feud. They could do it, and it wouldn't even be hard. You got two great performers here, but I would love to see a little more added to this.
No, I'm with you. I do like that Switchblade is embracing being a babyface right now, and he's actually doing a really good job. I thought the promo was great. But yeah, no, I'm with you. I do think it needs to get a little bit more personal, especially considering that we know how sadistic Adam Page is.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just bring it to that next level of personal beef, and I think they'll be all set.
Yeah. We go backstage into the parking lot, and Camille tried to murder Chris Statlander with a car. But she missed, did not catch Statlander. Statlander immediately grabs Camille's arm and slams it in a car door, which was pretty badass. And then Mercedes thought she was going to beat Statlander's ass and ended up getting her beautiful ass choke slammed on the hood of a car. Statlander looked like a fucking beast right here. And their match at Full Gear is official. It is going to be Mercedes versus Chris Statlander. Joshi, how'd you feel?
Statlander rules. I love that. She looked tougher than both Mercedes and Camille. She looked like she could destroy both of them. She did essentially destroy both of them.
She did,
that's the Chris I want to see. I think she's one of the best female wrestlers on the fucking planet. I love Statlander. I'm glad she's a babyface again. Obviously, I would have done it differently, but I just think that persona suits her a lot more. And I'm really looking forward to her match with Mercedes at Full Gear. I think it's going to be a terrific match.
I think that it's going to be very good. And I think it's the first time I've felt like somebody has a realistic shot of winning against Mercedes.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. It actually feels like there's a possibility that Statlander will beat her. And I like that. I think that's something that's kind of been missing when it comes to Mercedes opponents, because you just know, obviously she's going to retain, but the way they presented Statlander last night made it seem like she is a danger to Mercedes. I enjoy that. I want to see more of it, more backstage segments with them or in ring. I don't care. Just give me more of these two. I'm loving this feud so far.
Me too. Yeah, no, I'm really enjoying it. The patriarchy are basically trying to get Hook to join. They came out to the ring. Christian revealed that it was him who attacked Taz. They're interrupted by Hook's music. But before they were, Christian kind of teased that he was favoring. He teased that he was kind of favoring Kip Sabian over Nick Wayne. Did you notice that?
I did notice that.
And you noticed a little side eye from Nick Wayne?
Yeah.
That was interesting.
It was.
And then Hook's music hits, and Christian basically reveals the whole plan. Like, hey, I want you. I want to be your dad. And I had to get rid of your dad in order for that to happen. I hit him in the knee with a lead pipe. But here's the thing, Hook, and I like this part of it. He saw my face. He knew this whole time who did this to him. Why'd he make you run through all these hoops to find out? Like, I care about you. I thought it was just kind of that cult leader thing that Christian has going on. It really worked with the character. And that's a very valid question. Like, why wouldn't he have just told you?
Oh, Christian. He's one of my favorite characters in AEW. He's just such a terrific heel. Saying that he wished Taz was dead was just so awful, but
yeah, it was so bad.
It just goes with, if it suits him. Obviously, he's gonna say screwed up stuff like that, so he went there. I'm not sure what's going to come out of it. I'm not sure when Taz is expected to come back, but I'm interested to see where this goes. If Taz could have one last match somehow and beat the crap out of Christian Cage, that would be amusing. So we'll see.
I don't think Taz is coming back with a new knee.
I don't think so. No.
But the reigning, defending, undisputed next AEW World Champion thing, that cracks me up.
Me too.
It's so good. It's so good.
What a nut.
Jumping ahead here, Penelope Ford and Jamie Hayter had a match that was way too short, but was super, super promising. Especially, we all know Jamie Hayter's a badass. Penelope Ford's looking really good in the ring. Like,
oh yeah,
she has not lost a step. In fact, it seems like she's gained a few. And she is that Matrix bend back where she ducked under the clothesline backwards, got back to her feet, and then immediately hit a cutter.
I love that.
That was badass.
Yeah.
That was my favorite spot, I think, of the night. Like, that was so cool. I was so impressed by that. And they kind of sell this, like, Penelope is really like working over Hayter pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
And then they finally, Hayter just hits her with that lariat and pins her. And they kind of sell like that's the deal. Like, that lariat is so brutal. Is it the Haterade? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, the Haterade.
When she hits that lariat, it's just over. Like, you're not getting up. And it was a great match. It was very short. Any thoughts on the match particularly, Joshi?
I thought the match was really good. I mean, Penelope hasn't wrestled for 2 years, and seeing her come up with new stuff and pretty much match Jamie Hayter in some ways in the ring was really cool. We know how amazing Jamie Hayter is, like you said. I thought it was good, but man, it was short. And I did not like that at all. It seemed like there was so much more that the two of them could have done, and bam, that was it. Like you said, it was like, okay, lariat, match is over. This is becoming a pattern when it comes to Dynamite. I don't like it. I thought that because Tony had signed Mercedes Moné, we wouldn't run into this situation anymore where there's one women's match, it's really freaking short, and you get like one really quick backstage segment. That is not enough. I don't understand what the hell is going on, but I'm concerned because I was hoping it was only going to be temporary, but it's been like this ever since All Out. And at Full Gear, if there's only one women's match, I'm going to be freaking pissed. I mean, I hope not.
Yeah.
But
no, and I think as fans, we need to make ourselves heard on this one.
Yeah.
They have an incredible women's roster that I want to see featured beyond just being featured on Collision and Rampage. You need to give these women time on Dynamite. That's the only way you're going to be able to build their star power and create more female stars, period. And this was a great match that was too short. They could have easily clipped time out of the Jericho, death, trios, without honor match or whatever. And these two deserved that time. They really did. And that was my only real complaint. The in-ring action was great. They've got an insane level of talent in that roster now. They need more multi-woman matches. They need more feuds. They need more stuff. But since All Out, Dynamite has consistently featured less women. And I'm pissed about it. I don't like it either. I think it's bullshit.
Real quick, I don't tend to talk about WWE, but I was really disappointed to see that last night. So you had like, what was it, a 7-minute women's match, and that quick backstage segment with Chris, Mercedes, Camille, and then on NXT, you had the 5-on-5 women's match that main evented the show. But even prior to that, you actually showed these women backstage, right? And then you had the match, which was definitely not only 7 minutes. It's, they were on because of the election, NXT was on last night. But, NXT is not losing viewers over women here. So I don't understand what AEW's deal is, especially when it comes to Dynamite. If anything, fans enjoy watching the woman. So I don't know, man, but it's like you look at these two companies and, well, let's say NXT, which is apparently development, and the women are getting more time there than on Dynamite. That is not a good look. I don't like to see this. And also, where was Mariah May?
I think it's okay that Mariah May wasn't there, though. I didn't have a problem with that. She main evented Collision in a title match. Mariah's always on TV on one of the shows. I had a problem with them cutting the legs out from under this match.
Mm-hmm.
I think like the thing with NXT, look how Triple H books the main roster, and it's pathetic.
Oh, I absolutely agree.
Sean is booking the women very strong in NXT, and good on him, right? Like I agree. That's what they should be doing. I think in a case where, especially if you're only going to have one match on the show and you've got workers as good as Jamie Hayter and Penelope Ford, that is not where you should be trying to make up time for matches that either ran heavy or whatever. That's bullshit. Like, don't do it with the one women's match that you're going to feature on the show. This needed to be longer than 7 minutes. It's just stupid. I think it was 7 minutes long, right?
Yeah. Pretty sure it was like 7 minutes long. And it's like with Collision. It's going, fans are getting really excited. They're freaking getting into it, and you just end the match. It's just, I'm over it, man. It's unacceptable, and, come on, do better.
They need to do better, and they need to stop fucking around on Dynamite like they have been. Our main event, Kyle Fletcher and Konosuke Takeshita versus Ricochet and a mystery partner who was revealed to be Will, and we all thought it would be Will Ospreay.
Yeah.
But it was Will Hobbs, who the Don Callis family hasn't even been checking on since he was injured as of October 4th. I like that they had an exact date. His contract had expired with the Don Callis family, and he's back, and he's pissed. And this was a really fun match. I love seeing Hobbs kind of as a baby face. I like that. Just as a hard-hitting, badass baby face. The crowd loves Will Hobbs. And he looked great. I mean, he just, my God, this guy is just made to be on television. They have the typical kind of great tag match you'd expect, which ended with Ricochet getting a pin on Konosuke Takeshita. Not a big fan of Takeshita losing, but if it's setting up a match for Ricochet and Takeshita at Full Gear, which I believe this was, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. It makes storyline sense. They're clearly building that match. Afterwards, Archer and Cage, Lance Archer and Brian Cage come out. The Don Callis family puts the beat down on Ricochet and Hobbs. Then Mark Davis comes out to break that up. He argues with Fletcher before he gets overwhelmed. They're holding down Davis to inflict some punishment, but Ospreay's music hits. The crowd goes nuts. He runs down. He's taped up to the gills. The show ends with Ospreay, Ricochet, Hobbs, and Mark Davis in the ring. Kind of an interesting visual. Like, could that be the new United Empire?
Maybe.
I think Hobbs is actually kind of an interesting thought as being in the United Empire. I think Ricochet is going to end up with MVP. I really do. I think there's a very good possibility of that. And I would like to see it, honestly. I think it'd be awesome. I think Ricochet is a world title contender with MVP as his mouthpiece. But overall, I thought it was a very solid 8 out of 10, 7.5, 8 out of 10 kind of Dynamite. Actually, I'm going to go 7 because I think the lack of women brings it down. And, but still very entertaining by and large. Joshi, any final thoughts on Dynamite?
Well, it's just really nice to see Will Hobbs back.
Yeah, it is.
You know, he's been gone for a while, and I'm glad he's not with the Don Callis family anymore. I don't think he needs to be in that faction. I like that it wasn't Ospreay. You know, they saved Ospreay for the very end of the show. So, yeah, I thought it was a really good Dynamite. Again, it's just when it comes to the woman, I'm not feeling it yet. We're not where we should be. So
we're not going back.
Yeah, we better.
We're not going back. We can't go back. Tony, don't fuck it up, man. You got a beautiful thing brewing there. You have some incredible female talent. Keep them in the public eye. Keep them on people's radar. You can't let them fall off. It's great that you have people, you know, wrestling 2 matches on Collision. It's great. Sometimes they even have 2 women's matches on Rampage every once in a while. But, like, dude, it's Dynamite. Make it happen. Yeah, you have a big-ass roster, but you have a lot of female talent as well. That's part of that huge roster, so don't fuck it up, man. Real quick, before we jet out of here, a preview of Full Gear so far. Moxley versus Orange Cassidy for the world title. Mercedes versus Chris Statlander for the TBS title. Swerve versus Bobby Lashley. Hangman versus Jay White. And then either MJF versus Adam Cole or potentially MJF versus Roddy Strong or potentially MJF versus Adam Cole and Roddy Strong. Looking like a very strong card. I think we also have a very high probability of Konosuke Takeshita versus Ricochet.
Yeah.
I think that, you know, they kind of have this little mini tournament going on to see who's going to get the tag title shot at Private Party, which I love. So yeah, it's shaping up to be a very good card. They still got 2 weeks. It's looking really good. I will not mind shelling out $50.
I agree. Just make sure you add another women's match on the main card.
Well, Mariah May needs to defend that title.
She freaking better.
You know
I'm
what we
keeping
didn't
my
mention,
fingers
though,
crossed, buddy.
is that Mina is coming.
Yes. Mina will be there next week.
Is going to be there next week. But did you notice on the graphic they showed that half the graphic was in black and white?
No, I didn't actually. I'll have to rewatch that. I was like,
no, they're clearly, they're not just teasing the return of Mina. They're teasing the return of Tony Storm.
Yay, Tony.
Oh my God. That would be such a huge deal. So it's going to be very interesting. But sickos, it's been a tough week. We hope you're taking care of yourself. We're trying to take care of ourselves. The show ended up being way longer than we said it was going to be, but that's pretty much what we always do. But it's our pleasure to be here as a safe haven for just a little bit of time each and every week. We appreciate y'all so much. Hope you're taking care of yourselves. Take good care of your people. Spend time with your community. And we will see you next week. I'm Blade Daly.
I'm Joshi G. Hang in there, everybody. Keep fighting. And make sure that you have a really positive and supportive community.
Pro wrestling forever.